Websites like eBay and Facebook Marketplace are filling up with used Starlink dishes. If you are interested in buying or selling a used Starlink dish, this guide was created to help you out. I'll give you all the information you need in order to safely buy or sell a Starlink kit on the used market. Whether you are going to be buying or selling, I recommend that you watch the entire video so that you can gain a complete understanding of the process. If you want to skip around, check out the chapters in the description below. Let's start by going over how to sell and transfer a Starlink kit. In this section, I will guide you through the process of selling your Starlink dish. The high-level overview of this process is that you need to cancel your subscription and then transfer the dish out of your account. Step number 1, write down your Starlink identifier. You'll need to collect some information to provide to the buyer. Record at least one of the following identifiers so that you can reference them later. Any of these numbers can be used to activate the dish. You only need one of them. The first option is the kit number. This is the most common Starlink identifier and the easiest to locate. You can go to your Starlink account portal on starlink.com and then click Manage on your hardware. Under the Devices section, you'll find the kit number. The kit number is also printed on the Starlink shipping box if you happen to have the original shipping container. The second option is the dish serial number. The serial number of the dish can be found on the bottom of the mast or printed on the bottom of the dish itself, depending on which model you have. Finally, the third Starlink identifier that you could use is the Starlink Terminal ID. To find your terminal ID number, open up the Starlink app with the unit powered on. At the very bottom of the app, tap Advanced. Under the Starlink section is an ID number. It begins with the letters UT. You just need the numbers in that string of characters. Step 2, cancel your Starlink service. Your subscription must be canceled in order to complete the transfer process. In order to cancel your subscription, all your outstanding orders and monthly billing statements must be paid in full. To cancel your service, log in to your Starlink.com account portal. Click on Manage next to the service that you wish to cancel, and then click Cancel Service in the left-hand menu. Select the reason you are canceling, and then uncheck the box if it asks you if you want to return your hardware. Finally, click Confirm to process the cancellation. Step 3, transfer your dish. Head back to the account portal if you aren't already there, and click Manage on the dish that you wish to transfer. And then click on the transfer button that is now active after you've canceled your subscription. You'll need to confirm that you accept the conditions of the transfer. The hardware will be removed from your account permanently. There's no going back after you hit confirm. Your service will also stop immediately, and any remaining days in your billing cycle will be lost. An important note here, transfers are not allowed until at least 90 days from the initial activation or 120 days from the original purchase date, whichever comes first. Step 4, pack everything up. Pack up all the hardware from your Starlink kit. The buyer will need the dish, mount, Starlink cable, router power cord, and power supply, depending on the model of Starlink dish that you have. It's a good idea to factory reset the Starlink router and any mesh nodes that you might be including in the sale. If you have the original Starlink box, pack everything back up. If not, make sure you package or transport the hardware in a safe and protected manner. You don't want to damage any of the equipment, especially the Starlink dish and the Starlink cable connectors. Step 5. This is the final step of the selling process. Give the Starlink identifier to the buyer. When you find a buyer for your Starlink kit, you need to let them know how to activate the hardware on a new or existing Starlink account. Provide them with the ID number that you recorded in Step 1. It's a good idea to exchange the payment and the Starlink identifier number at the same time, because anyone with that ID number for your dish can activate it, making it useless to you, so only give out the ID number when you're finally ready to go. Let the buyer know that they must sign up for service at starlink.com/activate. They will need to go through the checkout and order process for whatever line of service that they are wanting, such as residential or roam. The ID number that you provide will allow them to activate their new service with the hardware that you are selling them. Send them this video beforehand so that you both have a good understanding of how the entire process works. Now that I've covered selling and transferring a kit, let's talk about buying and activating one. Once you've found a used Starlink to purchase, follow these steps. Step 1. Collect the Starlink identifier. Before you can activate a dish that you purchase on the used market, you'll need some information from the seller. Be sure to collect one of the following Starlink identifier numbers. You can use the kit number, you can use the dish serial number, or the terminal ID number. The kit number is the easiest to find. It's on the original Starlink box that the unit shipped in, and it's also on the seller's account dashboard where they manage their subscription. You can also use the dish serial number. It's printed on the bottom of the mast or the bottom of the dish itself, depending on which model you have. If the seller doesn't know these numbers, send them the link to this video. Do not purchase a dish if the seller isn't sure of the ID number or isn't willing to provide it at the time of payment. Step 2. Activate service. Head over to starlink.com/activate and enter in one of the Starlink identifiers provided by the seller. You'll need to decide whether to open a new Starlink account or add a line of service to an existing account. Step 3. Choose your service plan. If the Starlink identifier was valid, you will see a screen with several service plan options. The plans available to you depend on your address. Enter in your address into the field near the bottom of the screen to see a full list of options of service plans available to you. Step 4. Complete the order process. Continue filling out the order form by completing the sections for contact and billing information. In the cost summary, you should see a charge for the monthly service fee, but no equipment charges because you're bringing used equipment into this order. When everything is filled out, click Place Order. Upon completion of the order, your service will start immediately. You'll be billed every month until you cancel the service. If you are starting a new Starlink account, you can go ahead and set up your password at this time. Now that I've covered the transfer process from both the buyer perspective and the seller perspective, here are several tips for making sure your transaction is as smooth as possible. When buying from eBay, take advantage of their buyer protection services. You'll need to pay in advance when using eBay or similar platforms, so communicate your expectations with the seller regarding the transfer before buying. When buying a used dish, verify the condition with the seller. You'll need to make sure it can turn on, connect to the satellites, and connect to the internet if their service plan happens to still be active. It's always best to check it out in person, but get as much information as you can about the condition, especially the cable connectors and the dish surface. When buying a Starlink dish, ask the seller if their Starlink account is active or canceled. If the account is still active, make sure they are prepared to pay off any outstanding balances. And finally, share this video with the person you are dealing with so that both of you have a complete understanding of the process. And finally, for this video, here's a few frequently asked questions that I get all the time on the YouTube channel and on our blog regarding buying and selling Starlink dishes. So the first problem that comes up is people get the error, this Starlink has not been on its subscription long enough to be eligible for transfer. Starlink requires that your subscription be active for at least 90 days before your kit is eligible to be transferred to somebody else. You will not be able to buy a Starlink kit and immediately resell it to someone else because of this rule. You need to wait at least 90 days from the activation date or 120 days from the purchase date, whichever comes first. I'm getting an error message about my Starlink identifier. If you're trying to activate service and the Starlink website isn't accepting your Starlink identifier number, it could be caused by several things. Make sure you are using the right Starlink identifier number. Remember, you can use the kit number or the terminal ID number or the serial number on the dish. Make sure you communicate with the buyer to make sure you've received the right identifier numbers. If you keep getting the message that the Starlink dish is already assigned to an account, make sure the buyer has followed the steps in this video to cancel and transfer the hardware out of their account. Unfortunately, Starlink scams and thefts are becoming more common. If you tried everything and still can't get the website to accept your Starlink identifier number, it's possible that you bought a stolen or currently activated dish that the seller was not authorized to transfer. Can I cancel or reverse a transfer? If you are the seller, you cannot reverse a transfer once it's gone through. Once the buyer has activated the equipment on their own account, you can't add it back to yours. If the deal falls through before the buyer activates the dish, you can still sell it to somebody else. If you wish to start using your used hardware again, you would need to complete the buyer activation process and add the hardware back to your old account or even a new one. If you're the buyer and have activated used hardware with a new account and you need to return it, you can simply cancel the service. If you wish to return the equipment to the seller or sell it to somebody else, keep in mind you've got to wait at least 90 days before you can transfer it to somebody else. Does the warranty transfer over to the new owner? The warranty provided by Starlink starts from the date of the original purchase of the equipment. Any remaining warranty time is transferred with the equipment to the new owner. In the United States, the warranty for the standard hardware is 12 months. Can I transfer a Starlink kit to or from a different country? In general, yes, you can transfer a Starlink kit to a different country. As long as the subscription is canceled and the dish has been transferred out of the account, it can be activated in any country that officially offers Starlink service. I hope this guide has helped you if you are trying to buy or sell a used Starlink kit. Let me know if you have any further questions or feedback on this video in the comment section below. If you liked the video, go ahead and give us a thumbs up. It really helps out the channel. Also, consider joining our supporter membership program by hitting the join button. For just $1.99 a month, you'll get early access to videos, custom badges and emojis, and priority responses in the comments and the community page. You can also show your support for this channel by hitting the thanks button below and sending me a super thanks. Make sure you also check out our blog at starlinkhardware.com.